Ever ask yourself what it would be like? Imagine ashen skies that loom overhead. The once bustling streets now echo only with shambling of undead creatures searching for their next meal. Your bug-out bag is half empty, your water supply questionable at best, and your morale teeters on the edge of pure desperation. And if it's not enough, what guns are you carrying? In this video, we'll talk about 8 firearms that might just be the worst possible choices when everything you know has turned to chaos. Some enthusiasts might claim any gun is better than no gun, but these particular models push that notion to its absolute limit. Whether it's a 50 caliber hand cannon that doubles as a boat anchor or a single shot relic that leaves you reloading at precisely the wrong moment, each of these picks could spell trouble faster than you can say, "out of ammo." We'll talk about the grim reality of post-apocalyptic living, but just a quick heads up, you shouldn't take this video too seriously. Unless, of course, you genuinely thought your Desert Eagle is a stroke of genius. By the time we're done, you'll either be laughing your butt off or taking some notes on what you shouldn't carry when roving bands of survivors come knocking. Of course, if you're planning on a real-life survival strategy, you'd be wise to look beyond this list. It's always fun to look at some of the most baffling gun designs. We're keeping things light by talking about how not to get devoured by mutant fetuses, so may as well laugh a bit, right? Number 1. Taurus Curve. Picture a pistol that's shaped to hug your body, like that needy ex who won't let go. That's the Taurus Curve, a 380 auto attempt at futuristic design that ends in puzzled looks. It claims to be revolutionary by curving to match your waistline, yet it forgets an essential feature: real sights. Instead, there's a built-in laser that usually ends up flickering like a dying flashlight at the worst moment. In a scenario where radioactive zombies are sprinting your way, do you want to rely on a beam of red light to aim? This thing was intended for concealed carry in normal times, but in an apocalypse, subtlety is as useful as a chocolate spoon in a house fire. You need performance reliability to deal with threats that don't politely wait for you to line up a shot. The puny caliber might deter a mutant mouse, but it might make a rabid mutant dog lap before it eats you alive. Plus, the magazines are finicky, and the ergonomics feel forced. If your plan is to hide behind a trash bin until the chaos subsides, it might fit the bill. Otherwise, consider an upgrade to something that won't leave you fumbling with a curved frame while the world crumbles. Number 2. Desert Eagle 50 AE. Some people think bigger is always better, and for them, the Desert Eagle 50 AE is like the grail of hand cannons. However, when society collapses, lunging around what feels like a sledgehammer for your waistband might not be the smartest move. This pistol weighs enough to tire your arms before you even see a threat. The recoil can make a grown person whimper, and if you're worried about muzzle rise, be prepared to watch your front sight vanish into the stratosphere. Ammo availability becomes a joke too. While everyone else scavenges for 9mm or 223, you'll be praying to find those 50 AE cartridges that cost more than gold. Even if you manage to snag a few boxes, you get a whopping 7-round magazine, which evaporates in seconds if you're forced to rapid fire at a swarm of undead. Talk about a quick way to run dry. Then there's the noise factor. Firing one round is ringing the dinner bell for every hungry ghoul within a mile. Sure, it looks intimidating, but intimidation only goes so far when your arms are shaking from the weight. In a scenario where subtlety, stamina, and practicality reign supreme, the Desert Eagle might be your fastest ticket to becoming a zombie chow. Number 3. Liberator Pistol. If you're ever feeling overconfident about your survival plan, just pick up a Liberator Pistol. Originally designed in World War II as a cheap single-shot 45 auto throwaway, it's the ultimate symbol of use once and pray you never have to again. The barrel is barely long enough to guide the bullet, and the construction screams last resort in every sense. In an apocalypse scenario, you're better off with a sturdy stick, because at least the stick can be reused. The Liberator gives you one shot, literally. After that, you'll be rummaging through your pockets for another round, then wrestling with a clumsy reloading process that feels like you're assembling flat-pack furniture in the dark. Meanwhile, marauding raiders of flesh-eating ghouls would just stand there politely waiting for you to finish. The pistol's name might sound promising, but once you realize it can't liberate you from a follow-up shot, the honeymoon phase ends. Imagine missing your only bullet while a pack of ravenous creatures closes in. Congratulations! You've just become an all-you-can-eat buffet. If you insist on carrying this relic, maybe keep a backup plan, like a baseball bat or a sprinting coach, to maximize your odds. Surviving the end of days is tough enough without grumbling on a single round. Real quick, before we get to number 4, if this video has brought a spark of joy to your apocalyptic planning so far, please like, share, and subscribe. With that out of the way. Number 4. Rossi Circuit Judge. You probably already know what happens when a gun maker refuses a revolver with a rifle and then decides to shrug off all practical concerns. Meet the Rossi Circuit Judge, a bizarre combination of 410 shotgun and 45 Colt that manages to excel at nothing except confusion. From a distance, it looks like someone bolted an extra long barrel onto a standard 6-shooter, hoping for the best. The cylinder gaps ensure hot gases blast sideways every time you pull the trigger. So if you're fond of keeping your face intact, you'll need to hold this contraption with some caution. As for power, 410 shells might scare off a particularly timid rodent, but it's hardly the stopping force you'd want against a charging mutant boar. Accuracy also suffers, thanks to that revolver-style mechanism married to a rifle's length. Reloading is akin to performing a circus act, with shells and cartridges that don't quite inspire confidence. The entire design feels like an experiment gone wrong, yet it persists for those who love the novelty factor. In a doomsday scenario where reliability and firepower matter, you're gambling on a gun that's basically the weird cousin at the family reunion. Sure, it's entertaining to watch, but trust it at your own peril. There are better ways to arm yourself when civilization crumbles. Number 5. Gyrojet Pistol. Rocket-powered ammunition sounds cool on paper until you realize you actually want your projectiles to reach lethal speed before they exit the barrel. The Gyrojet pistol's unique concept involves miniature rockets that accelerate over distance, meaning you can practically watch paint dry while waiting for lethal velocity. If a threat is up close, which is likely in an apocalypse, this pistol offers all the stopping power of a rubber band. Ammunition for this antique is rarer than a functioning smartphone in a nuclear wasteland, and if you do find some, good luck dealing with duds. Jump one rocket in there and you'll be cursing under your breath while an undead horde converges on your spot. The recoil might be gentle, but that's hardly a selling point when the muzzle velocity is playing catch-up. Even if you line up the perfect shot at a distance, there's no guarantee your target will be courteous enough to stand still until the rocket does its job. Number 6. Nambu Type 94. There are times you come across a design so questionable that it makes you wonder if the engineers secretly hated the company they work for. The Nambu Type 94 is notorious for an exposed sear that can cause accidental discharges simply by pressing the wrong spot on the frame. Imagine frantically stuffing this into your waistband during a raider attack and sending a round into your thigh. That's not exactly the heroic battle story you want to tell. The pistol's awkward grip and weak 8mm cartridge add to the list of reasons why it was never a beloved sidearm. Soldiers who carried it often preferred picking up enemy weapons instead. In a post-apocalyptic nightmare, you'd be effectively arming your foes if they find you flinching every time you bump the Nambu into a piece of rubble. Reloading is also cumbersome, and the build quality can feel suspect. If you want a personal hazard that might shoot you before you can shoot anything else, the Type 94 is your perfect match. Sure, it's got historical value, but so does a leaky rowboat. Unless you thrive on living dangerously and have deep desire to risk auto ventilation, it's best to leave this old pistol as a museum piece rather than a survival tool. Number 7. Kel-Tec P50. Do you sometimes dream of strutting through a post-apocalyptic wasteland looking like you stepped off a sci-fi film set? That's what the Kel-Tec P50 promises. With its space-age design and 50-round 5.7 by 28mm magazines. At first glance, it seems impressive until you realize how unwieldy this large pistol becomes. Balancing is about as comfortable as carrying a newborn calf under your arm, and the specialized ammo is far from abundant. While 5.7 by 28mm can pierce light armor, finding stockpiles of that round when grocery stores are empty might be a bigger fantasy than believing the apocalypse will blow over by next Tuesday. Disassembly can be an adventure in itself, and if any part breaks, you'll need a magical toolbox of Kel-Tec-specific components. The lengthy top rail begs for an optic, which in turn makes the entire rig even more top-heavy. If stealth is important, a giant futuristic blaster might not be your best bet. Either you'll probably look like an alien invader yourself, attracting unnecessary attention from both friendly scavengers and hostile warlords. In a desperate scramble to stay alive, carryability and reliability trump aesthetics. The P50 might be fun for range day in a functioning society, but in a doomsday scenario, it's more style than substance. Number 8. Hi-Point CF380. For everyone out there who wants a budget option that's about as graceful as a rusted shovel, the Hi-Point CF380 is here to make your apocalypse extra stressful. It's heavy for a compact pistol built with materials that feels closer to recycled tin cans and about as sleek as a brick with a trigger. On top of that, the 380 Auto isn't exactly the best cartridge for taking on feral marauders or genetically modified super rats. Some claims it's reliable, but the keyword is some, because many others report jams, feeding issues, and the occasional meltdown under rapid fire. In a world where gun maintenance might be sporadic at best, trusting a design known for questionable tolerance is risky. The recoil impulse is odd. The grip texture can feel like sandpaper on a hot day, and the trigger pull is reminiscent of dragging furniture across concrete. Yes, it's cheap, so if bartering becomes a thing, maybe you can trade it for a half-eaten can of beans. But if your survival depends on something that won't spontaneously choke during a life or death skirmish, the CF380 might not be your friend. You'll get what you pay for. And in this case, what you pay for is potentially apocalypse fiasco waiting to happen. So there you have it, guys. 8 firearms that could make your apocalypse experience more stressful than it already would be. These picks are the farthest from what you call ideal. Some are too heavy, some are too unreliable, and some are just outright dangerous to the user. But if your absolute worst isn't on the list, comment below. Let us know what it is and why you think it should have made the list. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit like, share this with your friends, and click the bell icon so you don't miss out on future videos. Thanks for watching.